Hello everybody, this is methlokaiju, and today I'll be doing a video regarding the box office result for Godzilla King of the Monsters. I wanted to do this video for quite a while now, and I think right now it's a perfect time. It's July 15th as of this recording. You're probably going to watch this on July 16th or 17th, I don't know, we'll see. And Godzilla King of the Monsters is out in theaters for several people. And I did make a comment regarding the box office, and I saw a lot of people in the comments make mention of my statements, and they tried to argue about it, and I argued back. You know, it was a thoughtful discussion. So I decided, hey, why not do an entire video dedicated to this subject? So here it is. So in this video, we'll be going over why Godzilla King of the Monsters is not a success. Okay, that's not just my opinion. That's an objective truth. I know I sound very arrogant right now, but it is the truth. I'm sorry. It is the truth that this movie is not a success by any means. Now, the thing we are going to solve in this video is whether this movie is a flop, a bomb, a disappointment, what exactly this movie is. What category does it fit? And the main question is, will the Monsterverse end because of this box office disappointment / failure? So that will be at the very end. So let's first analyze the numbers, and let's use Box Office Mojo because they are super credible. I always use Box Office Mojo. I've seen other sites such as The Numbers, which according to them, Godzilla King of the Monsters made like 400 million worldwide. But first of all, I don't even know what the track record is. I barely see anyone even citing that specific site, unless it is, you know, someone just trying to show, oh yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters actually is a success, because according to this random website that I just searched up, it's doing pretty good. So, you know, that's not a good excuse. We need to look at pretty accurate, very well cited sites such as Box Office Mojo. So that is why I'm using Box Office Mojo. So anyhow, let us continue. First of all, let's look at the budget, which is a very good indicator of whether this movie is a success, disappointment, flop, mega hits, etc. So the production budget, according to Box Office Mojo, which they could be wrong, but they've had so much time to update this to the point where I actually do believe the production budget is indeed 170 million. I've heard other speculations of 230 million, 200 million, 185 million, but this number is sticking in, so I'm still going to go with the 170 million production budget. Now, you may say, oh, in order for the movie to make a profit, it just has to make 170 million, and then once it makes more than that, then we're all good, right? No, that's not how box office works. The way box office works is that the production budget is just that, the production budget. It doesn't take into account the marketing. It doesn't take into account the theater chains that are taking away money from that ticket sale. So, if you put that all together, you get a multiplier of 2.5. That is the magic number. I've seen 2 and 3. I think 3 is too extreme, and I think 2 is too low. So 2.5 is a good multiplier. So what you do is you get the production budget, in this case 170 million, and multiply it by the multiplier I already mentioned a lot of times, 2.5, and you get the break even point, which is the point where if you surpass it, then that's when you start making a profit, which is $425 million. So has Godzilla King of the Monsters in its worldwide box office made 425 million? And it seems it oh no, it didn't. It didn't do a lot less, but a pretty sizable amount, I guess. More than 30 million less. So it's not making a profit. Okay, that is objectively true. Now, I know some of you are going to say, hey, but Legendary is owned by Wanda, and they're a Chinese corporation, or conglomerate, whatever you want to call it, so they get a bigger share of the pie when it comes to the Chinese box office, so therefore the multiplier is instead 2 or something. Well, according to Deadline, which is incredibly reliable, they have insider sources, all that kind of stuff, they specifically mention the following. Legendary East is handling China, where we understand the movie does not have co-pro status, so the return is about 25%. So this means those theories about, oh, they get 40% or 50% of of the Chinese market. That is not true according to Deadline, which again, very, very reliable source. So it's just 25%, just like any other movie. So the 2.5 multiplier still stands, and therefore it still has to make 425 million to break even. And with this production budget, or excuse me, with this worldwide box office number of 384 million, yeah, it is not making a profit at all. That is objectively true. Now, here's where we get into, more subjectivity. Is it a flop? Is it a bomb? Is it this or that? Well, first of all, a bomb is a very, very subjective term. It could just mean it underperformed. It could just mean it did that and this. I don't know. It's just a very loose term, so I'm not going to use the word bomb. Flop, though, basically means when a movie does less than the amount it needs to hit its production budget point, or excuse me, break-even point. So technically, this movie is a flop. It really is. It's not just a disappointment or underperformer. It's a literal flop. So you can call this Flopzilla, King of the Flops if you want. I don't know. I've seen a lot of trolls mention that, but it does have some truth to it. I'm just saying. To be honest, this does not account for the DVD sales, which this movie does have a lot of rewatchability. So I do expect at the end of the day, this movie to reach its break-even point of $425 million because of the DVD sales and etc. But if you have to rely to DVD sales in order to reach break-even points, then that means you're not a success whatsoever and you're being very desperate. But it does count either way, so because of that fact, I think Godzilla King of the Monsters is it's near flop. I'm going to say it's a minor flop. The reason why I say minor flop is because of DVD sales, first of all. But the main reason is because usually when it comes to flops, you expect something like a huge margin. So as an example, so in order for this movie to be considered a flop in what most people think of flop, then it should have made like, what, 250 million. But instead, it did 384 million, which is close to 400 million and close to its break-even point. So because of that, I do categorize this movie as a minor flop, but overall a major, huge disappointment. Now let's get into the main question. Does this movie hint to us that the Monsterverse will be ending in 2020? There's a very high chance. I would say like a 40% chance. But there's a 60% chance, which is, the higher chance that the Monsterverse doesn't end in 2020. Why do I say that? Well, I mean, yes, this movie definitely was a huge disappointment and it was a minor flop, but Legendary doesn't really have too many products for them to churn out that are big. I mean, they do have Detective Pikachu, and even then, they want to create a cinematic universe off of a movie that kind of did mediocre in the box office. So if they're willing to make a cinematic universe off of a mediocre starter movie, then why not continue the Monsterverse that has 3 successful box office runs? This is assuming Godzilla vs. Kong is pretty good, successfully in the box office, and 1 flop, then why not continue it? I think that's what they're going to be thinking. They're going to be thinking this is just a fluke. It is just an anomaly. It's just an outlier. So let's just keep churning out Godzilla movies in our Monsterverse. I think that is what their thought process is at the moment. And Legendary, Warner Brothers, if you're listening to this, which 100% you're not, but if somehow you are in some alternate reality, then I advise you this. First of all, cut the production budget a ton, okay? If you make Godzilla 3 or anything, make the production budget 130 million, 120 million. If you have a budget that low, then your break-even point is way lower. 120 times 2.5, I'm not exactly sure what the exact number for that is because I'm not a mathematician. Actually, I am a mathematician, and the number is 300 million. Yeah, I thought that all in my head for sure, 100%. There was no typing involved. 300 million is your break-even point. So that means you can easily make a profit and therefore easily have a successful movie. So first of all, do that. Second of all, have a big main star in your movie. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, there wasn't really a big main star. I mean, yes, Millie Bobby Brown, but not really necessarily. For Kong School Island, for example, they had Samuel L. Jackson. People go into the movie just to see Samuel L. Jackson. For Godzilla 2014, you had Bryan Cranston. People went for that movie in droves just to see Bryan Cranston, and that is why the whole Bryan Cranston dying thing was such a major criticism, because there were so many people going in there just for Bryan Cranston. So please do this for any other Monsterverse you're doing. You're clearly not doing this for Godzilla vs. Kong, which I think is a big, giant mistake. So we'll see if you learn and you cast, I don't know, The Rock or something, or some other dude that's super, super popular and hooks people in to watch the movie. So yeah, I do give you those 2 tips, legendary Warner Brothers, who are probably not listening to this video. Please do those 2 tips and you'll be good. You'll be making a profit off of a movie that makes like $320 million only worldwide. Trust me, just do those 2 things and you'll be golden. You can continue your Monsterverse. You can do solo movies for whatever you want. You can make a Maguma solo movie and you can still be profitable. Just put in The Rock with Maguma and then there, you're profitable. That's how easy it is, my guy. So there is that. So what do you guys think of this disappointment for Godzilla King of the Monsters? What are your tips for legendary Warner Brothers to help them, continue the Monsterverse? Do you think the Monsterverse will even continue? I've seen a lot of arguments saying the Monsterverse won't continue, and I somewhat agree with them. That is why, again, I'm 40% sure the Monsterverse will be ending, but at the same time, I'm 60% confident that it won't. That is all for this video. Hope you guys enjoy. I know I ramble a lot, but I'm just giving out my honest thoughts that are hopefully a bit entertaining to hear, I suppose. That's all for this video. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. This is methlokaiju signing out.